Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to this Monday edition of Renegade Wrestling. I'm your host, JJ Williams. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend out there. I'm going to get straight down into it today. I got a bunch of questions from y'all from YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Raven Puck, your question about the Nitro flashback, I'm going to need a little bit more time on, so look for that on Friday's episode. Okay? Nef Maivia from YouTube. If you had to put Diesel, Kevin Nash, versus Big Show, which show would you put it on? Would you put it on a cable TV show, WrestleMania, or an average pay-per-view? I personally would like to see the match from a nostalgic point of view. Well, on Friday's show, I booked the 20th anniversary of Raw episode, and Big Show versus Kevin Nash was one of my match ideas for that because Kevin Nash, a former WCW champion, I think it would have a great dynamic considering they were NWO brothers at one point in both companies. You know, the Giant and Kevin Nash, and then Big Show when it became a WWF NWO. Both members of WCW, both have held the WCW title. Only Big Show has held it since it became the World Heavyweight title, but that belt has its roots back to the NWA and WCW, hence the reason I would book it on that. A nostalgia point of view is definitely the way to go, hence the reason I said it for the 20th anniversary of Raw. If they were ever going to do a WCW one-night stand pay-per-view like they did for ECW, I'd maybe have it featured on that. I wouldn't put it at WrestleMania because I don't think it would draw enough for WrestleMania. An average pay-per-view, possibly, but considering the fact that Kevin Nash doesn't wrestle full-time and has no desire to, quite frankly, I would say put it on just a cable TV for, you know, a little jolt in the ratings, which have been suffering immensely as of late. I think a nostalgia match like that on free TV might give ratings a little boost that it sorely needs. Don Marlin from Facebook wants to know, what do I think of the Ryback and Undertaker versus the Shield at WrestleMania? I think that's a horrible idea. Ryback is nowhere in the caliber of teaming up with the Undertaker. If we were going to have Ryback and Undertaker team, they would probably pull like they did at WrestleMania 19 with Nathan Jones and get him taken out of the match, have Undertaker do it handicap. If Undertaker does it handicap, he could risk severely injuring himself, considering that he either has just had hip surgery or still needs to have hip surgery. So I definitely would not have Ryback team with Undertaker because it would take the spotlight away from Undertaker and focus it all on Ryback, and Ryback's not of the caliber. Plus, I mean, the Shield, as much as I've said that a new young guy needs to be the guy to take out the Undertaker, the Shield isn't ready for that yet. Really not. Wade Barrett would have been good a couple years back because the Nexus had assisted in burying the Undertaker. That would have made sense. The Shield has done nothing to the Undertaker. No reason for it. Jason Simone. Hey JJ, can you explain to me how it is that TNA has become so much more entertaining than Raw? I mean, I have a hard time watching Raw, very hard, but TNA I find I am really getting into. What has happened to the wrestling world? WWE feels they have no competition. When they feel they have no competition, they become stagnant and lazy. Very much the bottom line of it right there. WWE doesn't consider TNA a threat. They never will. They don't feel that they have to rise above like they did when they were going toe-to-toe with WCW. So their storylines have suffered, seriously. TNA, on the other hand, is still trying to prove to WWE and to the fans that they are a serious company. So they have better wrestling. They have moderately better storylines. Mike Knox as the newest member of Aces and Eights, really? Really? I'm good on that. But that's what's happening, is that WWE doesn't feel that there's any competition. ROH is distant third. Aside from ROH, you've got some regional indie feds with local TV deals. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has KDOC out here. Legion Championship Wrestling just got put on to KWHY in LA. MPW's got a TV deal. I'm not sure what station they're on. You know, and I know there's other indie feds out there with a local regional TV deal. But aside from that, you know, WWE feels there's no competition, so they don't have to take the game, the business to the next level. Ricky Lawson says, "Hey JJ, with The Rock returning and wrestling potentially the next 3 pay-per-views and appearing on Raw and some SmackDowns until Mania, do you think this will silence the critics of The Rock who've been shitting on him for not being around often?" No, I don't. To put it very simply, haters gonna hate. They can't be Rocky, so they're gonna hate on Rocky. Rocky doesn't need to be around full time anymore. He's been there, done that. Even Chris Jericho said it on The Rock's DVD. He's got nothing left to prove. You know, 6-time WWE champion, WCW champion, Intercontinental champion, multiple-time tag team champion. What does The Rock have to prove? Nothing. And I'll tell you this right now, John Cena wouldn't be where he is in Hollywood if it wasn't for The Rock. And some people are going to say, oh, well, The Rock wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for Hulk Hogan. Yeah, but Hulk Hogan's movies didn't do as good box office-wise as Rock's do. So while Hulk Hogan may have opened the door for The Rock to come to Hollywood, Rock came and kicked that son of a bitch off the hinges. That's why John Cena can make movies. That's why Randy Orton can make movies. That's why Triple H can make movies. That's why The Miz can make movies now. Because The Rock has proven himself as a bankable Hollywood movie star. You know, Stone Cold doesn't do as good as The Rock in Hollywood. Most of Austin's movies go straight to DVD. Same with Kurt Angle. You know, but The Rock consistently gets big movies, big opening weekends, big box office draws. You know, stop hating. Let the man do what he wants to do. As long as he still comes back to entertain me and the rest of Casa D18 and all you viewers, that's all I ever ask of The Rock. David Anthony Hunter. Hey JJ, I have 2 questions. First, if you were a wrestler in WWE in the 80s or 90s, who would you like to feud with, team with, and who would you like to be your manager? Okay, let me go to that, do that one first before I go to your second question. Who would I like to feud with in the 80s, 90s? One of 2 guys, Bret Hart or Mr. Perfect. Because those guys, blindfolded, could carry a broomstick through the match of the year. Bottom line. Despite what my ability would or would not be in the ring, I know those 2 guys would not look to injure me, and they would make me look like $1 million. Who would I want to team with? The Hot Rod. Hands down. Hands down. When I met him a couple years ago at SummerSlam, I was talking to him and he actually told me that if he was younger he would like to have me as his tag team partner. So right then and there, if the Hot Rod wants it, I'm willing to give it to him. I'm not going to say no to the Hot Rod. I'm afraid he'll slap the shit out of me. Who would I want to be my manager? That's the toughest one out of all of them, quite honestly. You know, do I go with my guardian angel, Sonny? Or do I go with a manager of champions like Jimmy Hart or Bobby the Brain Heenan? That's a really tough one. As much as I love Sonny, she would solely be there for the sex appeal factor. You know, probably would have to go with Bobby Heenan. Become a member of the legendary Heenan family. And my second question is, I am off to see TNA when it comes to England this month. What WWE/TNA show were you live at in person that was awesome? Before I answer that, I'm going to piggyback to Rex Christopherson from Twitter at Rexo1991. He's got a very similar question. He says, love the shows. My question is, what is it like to go to a WWE show, because I've never been to a wrestling show in my life? Well, what show was I live at in person that was just awesome? It's tough because I've been to so many. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick WrestleMania 21. Only WrestleMania I've been to, and granted, I've gone on record multiple times saying WrestleMania 20 was the last great WrestleMania in my opinion. WrestleMania 21 was still solid. Not as good watching it back on DVD as it seemed live and in person for whatever reason. It's probably just being caught up in the mania and the emotion and the electricity. And another one that'll surprise a lot of people, because I don't know how many people out there have it, know where to find it, or have seen it, and that's ECW Heatwave 2000. That show, top to bottom, all around, was just solid wrestling and extreme action, plus the XPW invasion in the main event. Just solid show, left to right, nothing but excitement. And as far as what is it like to go to a WWE show, it's part soap opera, part rock concert, part athletic competition. You cannot take anything away from the guys, even though wrestling is scripted and considered fake. It is still athletic competition. Those guys go in there day in, day out, bust their asses, put their bodies on the line to entertain us, and do get injured as a result of it. So that is what I could tell you a WWE show is like. And it's also kind of a fraternity, because you go to the shows locally to wherever you live. For me, it's the Honda Center, formerly the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, and Staples Center, and you see the same people. You see the same fans. And you may not talk to them all year, but as soon as you see them at the show, you pick right back where you left off when you saw them the last time. You get caught up on their lives and what's been going on with them, and then you leave them and you see them the next go-round. Matt Adams says, hey JJ, belated Happy New Year to you and the Casa. With Raw having its lowest TV ratings over in 15 years, what would you do if you were in charge of WWE to boost those ratings? First thing I'd do is fire the entire creative team. That's the first thing I would do. And the second thing I would do is something that I've mentioned at least to the residents of the Casa. I'm not sure if I've put this on videotape before or not, but I would have WWE focus groups. Every time they come to town, usually for, I would say, a house show, because they're not as crunched as they are for TV or pay-per-views. Every time they come to a town for a house show, I would go outside to the fans that are congregating there, that fraternity I was just speaking about. Pick 10 or 20 of those people, males, females, old, young, and I would bring them into the arena and sit down with them and be like, look, we know the ratings suck right now, so obviously we're not doing something right. What do you want to see? You know, John Laurinaitis touted last year, all about people power. Actually make it seem like the people have power. Talk to us. Find out who we like. Find out who we're tired of seeing. Push the people that we want to see pushed. Stop pushing the people we're tired of. Listen to the fans. Bottom line. That's what needs to be done for ratings to go up. The fans don't feel like they're listened to. I know I feel that way. I know the CASA as a whole feels that way. And I know a lot of the people I talk to out there in the streets feel that way. This brings me to my last question. And I usually don't want to jack concepts or anything, but I feel I have to steal my old tag team partner Jeff Meacham here. And this is the Facepalm Question for today. Okay, from North California, Bath and Body. And I'm going to read this word for word. I want you to know I'm not doing this intentionally. I am reading the question the way the person wrote it to me. I apologize for y'all hearing Pinky cracking up in the background. Hey JJ, I hate to sing one. Do you see someone in WWE that can do 20 or more Link the Undertaker? And 2, hey you or the man and at the Casa Pauli Lucha Libre AAA Heroes Del Rey. Now I'm going to try and decipher this gibberish. First thing first, North California Bath and Body, it's called spell check. It comes free on your computer, homie. Run spell check and make sure that your questions are actually legible to me, please. I believe he's asking if there's anyone in the WWE that I see that can do a 20-0 streak at WrestleMania like The Undertaker or possibly eclipse that record. At this time, no. Do I play Lucha Libre AAA Heroes Del Rey? No. I'm not a big video game person. I do usually check out the WWE games each year when they come out just to see what WWE's doing as far as their storylines in the game. But I've never played the Lucha Libre AAA Heroes Del Rey. That is it for today's episode of Renegade of Wrestling. Again, North California Bath and Body. It's called spell check. Use it. It is your friend. Until next time, thank you for watching Renegade of Wrestling. I will see you guys Friday with a brand new show. I will get to your Nitro Flashback booking question on that episode. Until then, we'll see you next time right here on the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel.